Welcome to the Life on Your Terms podcast with me, your host, Tracey Liv Howard. My intention is that each episode helps you remember who you are and serves to inspire and support you to reach your most important goals and live life on your terms. Let's get into today's episode. As you'll get to know, I am a little obsessed with Mark Twain. He is, of course, a famous author who wrote Huckleberry Finn and many others like Tom Sawyer. But he was a comedian and he was a humorist and a writer. And he's just got some great quotes. So this one I want to share with you today goes like this from Mark Twain. A person with a new idea is a crank until it succeeds. I love this quote because I then assume I'm the crank, that I've got this business idea. You know, I might want to collaborate with somebody and we've got an idea that's mixing between us. Well, I've got to be the crank. You know, there's no more waiting for someone else. I'm the one that has to take the control and the power back to bring this idea into reality. You know, you were the crank. You know, I am the crank with that idea. And we've got to crank until it succeeds, or of course, until we bring it into reality. And we've all been there where, you and someone else, you come together with excitement to do something. You come together, you have a great idea. And after a few hours, you walk away from that meeting and then the energy fades. You know, the momentum starts to lag. What happened? A day goes by. Who is going to be the crank to keep the idea alive, to keep it in motion, to keep it going? Mark Twain would say, you are. You're the crank. This is a philosophy that people in business use all the time. I mean, people have so much initiative and self-determination and drive. Mark says they're literally the cranks, people cranking. And business success is no surprise for people whom take that initiative to, take back control and keep something going. And so a simple idea needs minimal cranking, like maybe it's easy for you to put together an event. You've got an idea to put on an event. You've got to keep cranking to bring that into reality. Our big idea needs a lot of cranking, a lot of time, a lot of focus and intention. And so, of course, when we're picking which ideas we want to act on, it's really tapping into our energy, our enthusiasm and enjoyment with that idea to say, I'm going to have the stamina to crank this thing all the way to the end. Okay? And just because, this is very important, just because you might not be physically working on an idea doesn't mean you're not working on an idea. So ideas, again, are in the energy world, and oftentimes they're simmering. There's kind of that idea that's kind of right behind your vision, kind of outside of you, and it's hanging out there, right? Like my idea for the podcast, for example, it's there and it's like, it's growing and it's happening and it's taking shape. Then when I'm physically recording the episodes, I have long since decided I'm going to crank this idea and make this happen. So the idea is working and going, even if you're not working on it. Another example, I mentioned Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book, A Man's Search for Meaning. He wrote that book in 9 days. The idea was fully formed in his mind. And all he had to do once he was liberated from the concentration camps in Germany, all he had to do was regain his strength and find a pen and paper. And so, of course, his idea was working. Of course, it was formulating. The pen and paper was just the final product. And this is what Seth Godin calls as shipping. I love Seth's concept to just ship something, and that success only can happen if we ship an idea. A quote by Seth, he says, "The only purpose of starting is to finish. And while the projects we do are never really finished, they must ship." And really, he's just emphasizing what Mark is saying, that when we start something, we're really meant to finish it. And your ideas need that crank so that you can ship it. Ship the event, ship the email, ship the podcast. What are you shipping? And really getting a sense and taking your power back that I'm going to crank the idea. No one else is going to do it for me. God willing, inshallah, I have people who can help me crank, but that's part of the process, that how many people need to help us ship this beautiful idea. But really, at the end of the day, you've got to take full control over shipping it. And so my advice to you today is to get cranking. A big thank you for listening to this episode. I truly hope you got what you needed. If you want to get more from me each week, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. To be notified of new episodes, workshop opportunities, and more, subscribe to my email list by heading to the link in this episode description. I'm wishing you joy, happiness, and love.